David Austin roses. There is an English breeder for clematis. His name is Raymond Evison. And he is the David Austin of the clematis world. And this grower that we have, I'm going to share this. I don't know if any of you've ever heard of Raymond Evison. But I'll give you a little sneak peek at his website. He is an incredible clematis breeder. Everything from container bush form to vining and all of the different colors. So like we're gonna have, you can see he has doubles, he has fragrant ones, he has large flowering ones, he has ruffled ones. He is definitely the top end, high end breeder of clematis. And so we're going to be bringing, we're going to have a very large collection of his for pre-order. And these are nice size ones. They're 8-inch, which is considered like, they're literally 8 inches across, about 10 inches deep. They'll come with a trellis and they're pretty tall. So they'll already have buds and flowers on them when they come to you. That's the great thing, is they're not little tiny quarts or smaller ones that you have to wait forever on. They're immediately, you can put them in a container and begin enjoying them, or in the ground. We have lots of other vines too. I heard at one point that you guys wanted other vines that you'll have access to. So things like trumpet vine, things like that. So
I also saw wisteria a couple times in the comments here.
Yeah, definitely we'll have wisteria. In fact, one of the ones we're going to have is kind of a hard one to find, called Blue Moon. It's a native wisteria, and it has a really beautiful blue hue to it. But yes, we will have wisteria. So we'll have wisteria in different sizes, and definitely that's a very romantic one. So we'll have 3 or 4 varieties of wisteria for you to choose from. Well, and another question I was going to ask, I'm sorry, I could go on forever, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I really want to get you guys' thoughts and opinions here because we're about to finalize all these pieces for winter. Curious how you guys feel about magnolias. We also have this grower that has magnolias in a really nice size that are like a 3-gallon size. And so they're not huge, they're not enormous where you are really expensive, but it's a nice price point. Magnolias take a really long time to grow. And so they get really, 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 really expensive the bigger you get when you go to a big size nursery. If you want like a big established magnolia, you should go to a local nursery. They'll help you source and find the best one. But we have an access to these really nice 3-gallon ones that are well branched in all different colors. Purple, yellow, white, southern magnolias, all the different species of magnolias. So you've been on the hunt for a black tulip magnolia tree. Let me see if they have black tulip. I love black tulip. That's an incredible one. Let's see if they've got that.
Andy says cherry blossom and apple blossom trees.
Okay. I don't see that they have black tulip in this smaller size. It's interesting because black tulip also is often a very large one. So we won't have black tulip for you, unfortunately. I'm sorry, what was the other question?
I saw apple, where was it, Andy? Cherry blossom and apple blossom trees.
Okay. Yes, we can have those. Yeah, our West Coast grower actually has quite a bit of those. So we can do, there's fruiting cherries and then there's flowering cherries. Cherries are a little unique in that there's a lot of shipping restrictions around the US because they're part of the genus Prunus. And so sometimes in some area of the countries, if you're in a really high producing cherry state like Oregon, Washington, there's sometimes some shipping restrictions. And so you'll see that sometimes on some of these plants, and cherries are one of those. But yes, we can find you fruit trees. Absolutely. In fact, we could do that fairly quickly. So
I've been wanting to do that, but
I know.
we're so busy with all the things.
It's on our list of things to do, is bringing you fruit trees, because once again, we know fruit and roses go so good together. You think of Palatine, roses, which unfortunately, so sadly, they're not shipping into the US anymore. So we want to be able to maybe replace some of that and be able to make sure we're continuing to offer rosarians like really high quality fruits. So.
Multiple people have asked about gardenias, and then I've also seen hellebore in the comments.
Yes. Oh, can I show you guys some hellebore? Okay, give me a second. I should have done that. Yes, we're gonna have hellebore. We're gonna have lots and lots of hellebore. Some of the best, newest genetics of hellebore, because some of the older hellebore used to face downward, and it'd be kind of hidden in the foliage. All of the breeding now has been to bring them upright and above the foliage. And so there's some really incredible ones. Give me just a second and I'll bring like maybe one up for you guys.
Our West Coast grower has hellebore as well.
He does. Yeah, they do. We'll be able to have several sources of these. I wanted to show you, there's this whole series called the Wedding Party series that are so pretty. They're doubles.
Florists love them. They're very, very popular for floral design now. Extremely popular. But they're hard to get stem length, I've heard, for florists. So maybe we have some varieties that, like you're saying, grow more upright. Would be great.
Let me share my screen. I'll just show you one of the hellebores that we'll have. So Wedding Party is a series from Proven Winners. They're doing some breeding in hellebores. And this one is such a unique coloration. This one's called Childhood Sweetheart. We're also going to have one called, let me show you this one. Let's see, I'll just show some images. So there's like the Wedding Party mixed. So the wedding series are all doubles and they're in different colors. So we're going to have all of those for you. So all different colors, ranging from pinks to greens to whites to almost black, red. So we'll have all of the different hellebores for you.
One of my two of my favorites, Gardenia and Camellia.
Yeah, so we'll get those from our West Coast grower. They grow a lot better on the West Coast than they do on the East Coast, but we can do that. Yes. We don't have any of that ordered yet, but if that's something you guys want to do, we can definitely do it. We can even get gardenias in tree form. You can get them just like roses can be raised and budded to have a tree form. We can do gardenia trees as well if that's something you guys are interested in.
And we saw those camellia trees too, remember?
Yep.
When we were at the nursery?
Yeah. So if you guys would look, I know you love them, so we'll probably definitely do those. So especially because they're fragrant. I also find that rosarians love fragrant plants in general because that's just who we are, right? We love to put our noses in the roses and all of them. So yeah. Did you go over jasmine already? We did not do jasmine. We can do jasmine as well. Our West Coast grower has jasmine. So this is all good feedback because these are all things that we can bring to you if these are things you're interested in. How zone tolerant are they? Gardenias are not winter hardy, but the beautiful thing about gardenia, and I used to do this when I lived in New York. I used to buy gardenia trees, actually. They're sold kind of as annuals, kind of like those tropical hibiscus trees that you can buy like when they're braided and stuff, where you can just use them in your patio, and then you can just put them in like a garage or a basement or put them in a sunny window. I always had a hard time getting them to overwinter that way. So I often would just kind of use them as an annual, and if I could get them to overwinter, I'd use them again. If not, then I would toss them. So gardenias are more for definitely, West Coast and the South.
One more, plumeria and honeysuckle.
Plumeria, yes, our West Coast grower has plumeria. They don't grow it in a size that fits in any sort of box. So we would have to work on getting them to grow those in a specific size for us. Honeysuckle, we can get honeysuckle. Yeah, our East Coast grower has a lot of honeysuckle. So if that's something you're interested in, we can bring some honeysuckle vines on as well. I find it interesting that rosarians also love vines. Something about trellises and climbing things. So we're gonna have lots of different fun vines for you. I don't know if you know this, but hardy kiwi is a vine. It's a beautiful vine. In fact, it has like a pink, white, and a green leaf. And they produce little tiny edible kiwis, and they're winter hardy. It's not like the kiwi you buy at the grocery store. It's a little bit different, but there'll be some really neat vines like that as well. Gotta have something in bloom between rose flushes, Kate. Yeah, I agree. So that's why we want to bring all these fun things on for you. So some of the ones trying to focus, the things that we're going to pre-sell you in the winter are ones that are almost always sold out the rest of the year. And so just keep that in mind, as when we drop them in the store this winter, we'll drop them, week by week. We'll do one thing at a time. So you guys have lots of time to research. So we'll probably do a clematis week, and we'll do a wisteria week. We'll do hydrangea week. A lot of the ones I'm trying to focus on in the winter are the ones that sell out. So it's basically, if you don't buy them during the pre-sale season, there's a big chance we won't have them later. But then we're going to have lots of things throughout the summer, the spring and summer and fall, that will be live selling, things that are growing, that we can show you what they look like. So everything that I'm picking and dropping into the store, kind of these kind of different, hard to find things like pawpaws and white forsythia and the Raymond Evison clematis. They're like, if you don't get them in the winter, like, you won't get them, because they're really hard to find and hard to source in that size, especially. Things like mock orange, that Cami just says. Mock orange is one of those things where you got to buy it early or it's gone. Flowering almond, things like that. Brianna asked, will we have any alliums? Yes, actually we will. Alliums is another one that we'll have in the winter, because their shipping window is about this long. So alliums are big flowering onions. There's those big, huge purple flowers. Sometimes they're small white ones. And I have these little tiny white ones in my garden around my pink tumbleweed roses, which are so cute. Super hardy, but their shipping window is like this long. They don't ship well unless they're at a certain stage. And so that's why the only time you really see them is in the garden center, is like right before they're blooming, because they look terrible in a container after they're blooming. They don't have very good shelf life. And that's one of the reasons why alliums are hard to find. And so with the way we're going to set it up is you can purchase it in the winter, and then our grower, who is amazing, will ship them to you when they're young, before they're starting to bloom. And then you can enjoy those blooms. And then they come back year after year. So alliums will be one of those ones that we'll offer only in the winter. That's the only time you'll be able to purchase them from us. So Sarah, my husband thought my alliums were weeds. Oh, sad. Some allium is very aggressive. Some allium is great for filler. Some aren't so much, some of the larger varieties, but.
Ashley asks about iris, and that's an interesting question, because we previewed some iris and we have to decide on it.
Good, yes. So we have the opportunity to bring in some exclusive iris to us that would be just for us, and also other irises. So I'm just curious how you guys feel about iris, and would you prefer to buy them as bulbs, or actually their roots, the tubers, or would you prefer to buy them growing, or both? Because we could do both. A pink iris, but repeat bloomers for sure, Ashley. Yeah, a lot of the breeding now on, there's iris is kind of like rhododendron. They're like so many different species, and they have different bloom periods. There's like bearded iris, there's versicolors, there's all different types. And so and they do different in different zones as well. Annie says she prefers root. Okay, how do irises do in 7B? Irises would do well in 7B. Some irises need a cold period and some don't. So, but we could have access to all of those.
Ebyang, she lives down here near me, Zone 10, Southern California. She's asking about which hydrangeas we have that'll survive in Southern California, Zone 10B. And we have some on our website now, right?
Yeah, so it's hydrangeas are interesting. I think you have to be careful with the variety. Some varieties can handle heat and tolerate it, and some can't. It's really when you're in a really hot environment like that, where you're not getting a lot of winter, it's all about where you're placing it. So like the hydrangea macrophyllus will survive for you as long as you're making sure to put it in like a partial shade area. You could also do oak leaf hydrangeas. Some of the Annabelle types might be a little too warm down there for you, but I think there's lots of
mine are really tender. The Annabelles, they start to wilt midday. We have to water them twice a day.
Yeah. And macrophyllus could be like that sometimes too. They can. It depends on the macrophylla and which one. Sometimes that's why it's really important when you're in a hot environment. They actually prefer more like partial shade for sure. Whereas in like colder zones, they want to get a little bit more. It's a balance between giving them enough sun to get them to bloom in time in a short season. So, but in a warmer zone, yeah, you would want to do some partial shade for sure.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, as you can see, the sky's the limit, but we're trying to make sure that we're focusing our efforts on things that you guys are asking for and are interested in. And so I think what we'll do is we'll take this feedback, and as you become members, you will have 48-hour first access to these. So we're going to secure these in small quantities, especially this pre-order stuff that maybe is like grown in small pieces. We may only have like 20, but you will have first access to them before they go onto the website. So no matter if you're a gardener, a collector, or a conservator, these are all the types of awesome things that you'll have 48-hour access to. They'll be in your private collection. Let's see if there's anything else.
Well, tomorrow, if you are a current member, although our membership has expired, technically, there are a few of you that are still members, but most of you that joined in July of last year, you're expired, but we're saying you're still, you're getting the launch email tomorrow for membership. So 11 a.m. Pacific time, you will receive the email to join membership. And then at the same time, at least me, hopefully Heidi, Nick will be live here and just talking to you and finding out which one you went with and why you went with the particular one, what you're looking the most forward to, and all the excitement around that. So that's tomorrow for members that were members last year. And then it opens up to everyone on Saturday. So you will get an email in your inbox tomorrow, though, to sign up.
Yep. So, or you could just pop over to the website at 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. Everything will be ready there for you as members. So.
Sorry, I'm just reading the comments.
Yeah, me too.
I would love to see companion packages for roses. Okay, I'm going to screenshot that. I've screenshotted a few of your questions or requests here so I can text them to Heidi after this so she can put them in her thinking cap to see if they're possibilities.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ashley says, will you all let non-members know if a certain tier has sold out? Yeah, I think we could do that. I feel like we have enough spots for everyone we really expanded it this year. I know there's a lot of worry, but of course, we never know what's going to happen, but I feel like everyone, especially if you get it this weekend, I feel like this weekend, if you purchase this weekend, you're gonna be able to get it. It's in the coming few weeks that it might start selling out, one or two. So I would definitely do it this weekend if you can. But we'll let you know. We only have so many slots, so on the website it'll say sold out too. In the product listing, but it opens at 11 a.m. Pacific. So 11 a.m. Pacific, be noon Mountain Time, 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Eastern. I think I got everybody right.
Yeah. Carmen says, does the membership give discounts on cut flowers? So yes, it automatically comes with a discount. So our David Austin subscription, where you can get weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, is already about a little over 20% off the retail price because it's a subscription. And then you get an additional 20, 25, or 30% off of that, depending upon which tier you go with. And so that's for a subscription. And then we will have throughout the year, we'll have, new cut roses. We'll have some special, I'll backtrack just a second. So we're moving away from giving, mass discounts to our entire customer base. And so when we have something special that we want to offer, we're going to offer that to the members first. So if the farm is heavy, let's say, on a particular garden rose that's like Princess Hitomi or something, the members would have a special price and first access to get those. So we're hopefully throughout the year, we'll have like special pricing for you on the cut roses as we have availability. So.
Awesome. Okay. Is there any other questions? Oh, that's a great question, Tricia. Well, this is a good one to end on. Will anything new be available right away tomorrow after joining? Yes. So we have all of these drops planned out strategically over the next 6 months so that there's always something every week in your collection. The first thing that's going to be dropped, and we're actually going to do a live on this on, I think it's Friday. We are bringing a bunch of new roses in, and we're focusing on U.S. rose breeders, roses that maybe you've never seen or heard of. And I'll just give you a little sneak peek. And these will be available to all 3 tiers because they're not exclusive, right? So gardener, collector, and conservator, you'll have 48 hours first to see these in your collections on Friday and Saturday. So you're going to get to see your exciting new collection. Actually, I'm going to drop them in on Thursday. So that way, as soon as you join, if you want to go in and look, you can see them. But we're focusing on U.S. rose breeders, and we're bringing in new varieties from Dr. David Slezak, including some of the pretty polly, some incredible polyanthas. Dr. James Sproul, we're going to be focusing on his. We're bringing in some of his new stuff, and Will Radler. Mr. Radler, you often think of knockout roses, but actually he has an entire breeding program. He has incredible climbers that are not very well known, and he has some incredible garden roses as well. In fact, award-winning, highly disease-resistant. So those are going to be brand new to Grace Rose Farm that we're going to be dropping in the store. There are, I can tell you how many new ones are if you give me just one second.
I think there was 11 or 12 when I checked.
I think you're right. Yeah, there's 11 or 12 new rose varieties focusing on U.S. rose breeders. We're doing that to celebrate Labor Day. It's kind of a fun Labor Day event that we can introduce you to these. So we'll talk to you more about those. And as a member, you'll get first 48-hour access. Some of these we have like 7 of, 10 of. It's the last of the crop for the year. So we want you guys to have access to them first. So.
1 or 2 more. Debbie K wants to know if we've thought about old garden roses. I can start the answer to that. And it is that I have an extensive antique rose collection, and we would love to offer some. But I also think there are some specialty growers in the United States that really focus on old garden roses, such as Rogue Valley, such as Antique Rose Emporium. So I think that's going to be something for us a little bit down the pike where we can make sure we pick out some varieties that other growers aren't specializing on. And I think a lot of what I have is what's already kind of out there in the world of old garden roses. But do you have anything to add to that, Heidi? I think Rick also was saying something about that he knows some roses that fit in that criteria from New York.
Yeah, there's like, it's interesting. Near Ithaca, New York, there's a really interesting rosarian there who collects, especially old ramblers, that we may be able to get some access to. So, we're thinking about that. Those types of things take a long time to produce. They're just to get them, make sure they're virus free and all of that sort of thing. But we're definitely already thinking of it. We're trying to be strategic with it and making sure we're picking ones that are clean and make sense. So.
Absolutely. Yes, Debbie K, they are estate size this week. And Jill, absolutely. So our website's going to be expanding so much in the education department. We have a full-time blog writing team now. So we're going to be publishing blogs like practically every single day. But as we release more plants, we will have special pages on our website for care and growing for the different varieties that we're releasing across the spectrum. So
yeah, we're also going to try and do, every time we drop a new type of plant in the store, we're going to do it strategically. We want to do it live first. So we'll have like a little training like I did with the lavender and with an associated blog for sure. And then plus our bloggers are going to be blogging about, all sorts of different things, how to plant, how to prune, how to fertilize, things like that. So yeah, we definitely want to make sure you have all the access to really great information on all these plants so you can be successful.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's it. Oh, will we be able to purchase with Klarna or another extended pay? I think that's already built into Shopify. It's called Shop Pay, and you can just select that. It's a standard Shopify thing, and you can do that right on your end. We don't even have to do that. So I believe we do have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have on my Instagram or our Instagram, I have a question and answer box posted in stories. So if you have any more questions, enter that question into that Q&A box, and I'll make sure I'm checking it throughout the day. And then I'm going to put the Q&A box back up once it expires this evening. So put your questions in there. That's the best way for me to find your questions, because we go through all the comments on the lives and we try to go through the group, but it's tough to. So if you have a specific question you want answered, put it into my Q&A box in Instagram or Facebook stories, and I'll make sure that I get to it. I'll get to it today or tomorrow, hopefully before we launch, but I'm more than willing to answer any questions you have. So yeah.
Awesome.
And lastly, our customer service team is ready for you. We're having a meeting with them today in just a few minutes, and we have an amazing customer service team. They are going to take a moment, each one of them, over the next week or so, and introduce themselves to you in the Facebook group and tell you a little bit about themselves so you can get to know them. They're just amazing. And so they're really looking forward to helping you. And Heidi's been bringing them up to speed on plant care so they can be more helpful to you beyond just customer service and really help you and answer your questions. So you'll see some introductory posts from Patty, Alita, Crystal, of course, Oriana, Brioni, and Nancy, and they're just gonna go in and say hi. So that'll be over the next week or so, little by little. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.